Whoops.
Woo woo.
Okay, thank you everyone for coming. Welcome to week 2 of RevUP. As always, if you are watching this and you weren't here for week 1, you can go back and watch it, but they don't stack on top of each other. They do, but they don't need to. So you're not missing, this doesn't necessarily, you don't have to watch week 1 before watching this week. Every week it stands alone as with great content. So this is a 12-week program, as we all know, and last week, we discussed kind of an introduction to RevUp and goals and planning and systems. Today, we're going to talk about establishing your brand and developing your farm. And next week, we're going to talk about your database. Okay, so our learning objectives for today, we're going to talk about the 1 value proposition, creating your individual branding, email signatures, voicemail greetings, digital and print marketing, brand recognition with consistency, philosophy of farming, the types of farms, researching and choosing a farm, outlining the farm touches, walking your farm, maintaining your farm, and that's it. So today, the second part of this meeting is all about farming. I know that's a really common question. So if you're watching this video now or later, and you want to focus on, you want to learn all about how to farm, you can skip to the second half of this meeting, because that's the whole second half of this meeting is going to be about that. So as always, we start out these meetings with an affirmation. Today's affirmation is, I have written goals in all the key areas of my life, and I love to track my activities and results, seeing the progress I am making. The affirmations are generally based off of the previous week. That really keys off of last week. And today is kind of building off of last week. Last week, we created our business plan and our goals. And this week, we're kind of putting it into action. All right, well, let's jump right into establishing your brand. So I encourage everybody when they get into the business to have they call it a 1 value proposition. I call it an elevator pitch. Why should a client, this is what should be in your value proposition. Why should a client associate themselves with me and my company? What do I provide? What makes me unique? And how do I set myself apart from other agents? Those are the things that should be included in your elevator pitch. I call it an elevator pitch because, yeah, if you're having a listing appointment, you're going to go into a bit more detail, right? You're going to tell them, there's going to be a lot of information you want to tell them. It's probably not going to be 30 seconds, but everybody should have a 30-second spiel, if you will, for them and their business, separating them from the competition. Because I know I've talked about this in previous meetings, so I'll say it again. We are not salesmen and women. Is salesmen still appropriate to say? Salespeople. We are not salespeople in the sense that we're selling homes. We're not like a car salesman where we're like, hey, you want to buy a car? You want to buy a car? We are selling ourselves against the competition. And as we talked last week, we're not talking about putting down the competition, but raising ourselves, right? So we are selling. Buyers have to buy, sellers have to sell, right? You're not trying to convince your friends and family and anybody else you meet to sell their home. You're trying to convince them when they are going to sell their home, which they eventually will, they trust you and utilize you. That's what this is. And so when you are having, so the point of the 1 value proposition is work on your 30-second, 60-second, maybe even less, elevator pitch, where if someone says, hey, how's it going today? It's not, oh, it's good. You say, oh, it's going great. I'm a real estate agent. I just gave someone keys on a home that we just closed, and et cetera, et cetera. Here's what I do. And you want to say it quickly enough to catch their interest and stick in their brain, so they remember, they have a positive interaction with you, I'm stumbling around my words, but that's really the goal. That's really what the 1 value proposition is about. So homework here, not actual homework that I'm going to follow up on, but consider what would you say if that opportunity came up later today? How would you quickly, concisely, and tell someone what you do and kind of sell them on yourself? Because sometimes we only have 30 seconds of someone's attention. Robin, do you have a 1 value proposition? You do a lot of social media marketing and a lot of reaching out to people via social media. When you those are cold touches. You're maybe part of the same group. What is your go-to? Here's about me, and how do you keep it concise but also say enough about you that you want them to see how you're different from other people?
I try to read who I'm talking to and try to figure out what they might be interested in. Like,
Good point.
you know, if they're potentially a seller, I'll talk about how crazy the market is for sellers and how they're getting these bananas offers. If they're a buyer, I'll talk about how it's competitive and how needing a broker that is going to advocate for you matters. When I reach out to people, I usually just try to ask them sort of what's going on. People love talking about themselves, and then you just need to give them enough about you to earn a little bit of trust and be reflective of what they've said first. So if they're a first-time buyer and they think they can't buy, you don't want to be like, well, of course you can, but it's good to say, yeah, I have so many clients that thought that, but with low interest rates and zero down programs, I've been putting a lot of people in homes. You know, just something quickly to tell them, like, you're not pushing it on them, you're just selling yourself as an asset. Craig always says that if you service your clients, the sales will come, and it's true.
Yeah, no, I love that. It's a really good point. Like, and I guess I didn't even think about it that way, but you're right. I do have somewhat of a value proposition, quick elevator pitch when I'm talking to a real estate agent about a brokerage. And I have that for when I talk to buyers and sellers. But the truth is, if I'm talking to somebody who wants to house hack and invest in real estate, it's going to be very different how I talk to them than how I talk to somebody who's a first-time home buyer and wants to get that white picket fence and that, you know, forever home that won't be their forever home, but they think it will be. But you're right, my value proposition kind of changes for them. So I guess to rephrase how I started, make sure you know what you provide to different type of people, but at a minimum, have the bullet points in your head. So when somebody talks to you about the market, you know how to talk to a seller and you can say something about what separates you. And that's kind of the point of this is, like Robin said, focus on, you know, where that buyer is or where that seller is. But make sure you squeeze in something about why you're different. Not by bringing down the competition, but just pointing out, like in my case, if I talk to somebody who's interested in house hacking, which is where you live in a home and you rent out part of the home, or it's a duplex or a triplex, I would immediately talk about, yeah, that's what I did. The first home I ever bought was a fourplex. And that, you instantly get someone whose eyes get big and they're like, wow, that's awesome. That's exactly what I'm looking for. And that's just a value proposition that I can offer for those type of people. So anyways, just kind of think of what separates you and how you can really catch someone's attention. So this whole first part of the meeting is about establishing your brand. That was kind of a long first slide, so I got kind of sidetracked. Robin, do you want to talk? We talked about this in Tech Tuesday, so we can go really quickly. But everybody should have in your email a consistent signature. At a minimum, you need to have you need to disclose that you are with a real estate company and what company you're with. Realty One Group Turnkey for everyone on this call, and you need to disclose that you are a licensed real estate broker. So that is the title here, your first name and last name, and Realty One Group Turnkey. This is all optional, but you should definitely have some of this. So Robin, can you just briefly, since we already talked about this in Tech Tuesday, just tell people the best way to set up their signature, and then yes, watch last Tech Tuesday if you want to see how to actually put it into your email if you have questions about that, but just your thoughts on email signatures.
Yeah, I think email signatures are a really helpful place where people are going to come to find your information. It should be acting as kind of a digital business card. You do not need to put your email address in your email signature. I'm going to be honest, as a millennial, when I see that, I am like, haha, like I think kind of less of the person that has their email address in there. But this is the one that if you go to branding.realtyonegroup.com, and then you go to affiliates and you type in turnkey, it will come up with the Realty One Group turnkey signature. So it'll have our logo on the left side instead of just Realty One Group. And then you just fill in the blanks, right? This is the email signature that Isaac uses. I've added a couple little icons underneath his email signature for our website and Facebook page and what have you. I thought this email signature was really big. So if you look at my email signature, I have my Realty One Group Turnkey logo horizontal instead of vertical. And then I've also just got, like, I don't have anything about the pros or locations or what have you. I just have the little icons for social media. It's up to you. honestly, I also have like an embedded link that says make an appointment with me, which goes to my business page. And I have one that says check out my website. So, you know, like near the holidays, if you're doing like Shauna Tryon does a sock drive, she could put like donate to my sock drive in her email signature and have a link to an Amazon wish list or something. Your email signature is something that you can keep updated, keep it fresh, but make sure that it's always there and make sure it's set up on your cell phone as well. A lot of us send emails from our iPhones, let's say. You still have to disclose that you're a real estate broker.
Really, really, that's a great point. That's really important. I think your cell phone defaults to
Sent
not
from my iPhone or sent from my Android.
Yep, exactly. So this is really important. The Department of License, you can get sued if you have an initial contact with somebody that you do not disclose that you are a real estate broker. That's an easy lawsuit. I mean, it would probably be fine, but you know what I mean? That's shit. We want to be careful. And so, yeah, that's a really good point. I hadn't thought about saying that. Thank you for saying that. If you have questions about setting up your signature, do you reach out to Robin or Rachel? Sorry, Rachel is, I'm still getting used to Rachel. Rachel is now our agent resource specialist. Robin's our marketing lead, marketing, whatever. You're marketing.
Director of
And
marketing.
so I'm still learning who does what. So anyways, Robin and Rachel are both amazing. They can help you set this up. And yeah. All right, moving on. So creating your voicemail, I'll be really quick about this. Definitely have a professional voicemail. Disclose that you are a real estate broker, or I just say, hi, this is Isaac Schaefer with Realty One Group Turnkey. That's all I say. That's disclosing. That's enough. You don't have to say I'm a real estate broker with Realty One Group Turnkey, but keep it professional. You know, every once in a while I leave a voicemail for another real estate agent, and I'm just kind of blown away by how unprofessional their voicemails are. Just think what might be a turnoff for you. If you called a lender and they're like, hello, thanks for calling. And you know, you hear those voicemails all the time. You're like, what is, like, it's just kind of silly, whatever.
Or if you call an agent and you have reached 425, and it's like, did I call the right person? Is this the agent I'm trying to get a hold of?
I hate that. It drives me absolutely nuts. So the only thing that's required, disclose that you're with Realty One, disclose the brokerage that you're with. That's the only thing that's required. But again, try and be professional. It just makes sense. And this is not on this list, but don't have a full voicemail. That is more of a pet peeve for me. That is top 5 pet peeve in the entire industry.
So a lot of us record our voicemails in a place that's quiet. And I feel like a lot of agents end up recording them in the car. Your car isn't as quiet as you think. Like there's this weird background noise. Like go into your bedroom in your house and shut the door. Write down what you want to say and then just read it and then record that. It always sounds so much more professional than a quick clip from the car, or when you say it's more concise.
And if you have nice headphones, AirPods or something similar to that, not that I'm endorsing AirPods, but I am. The fact is that the speakers on headphones are generally quite a bit better than on your phone. So and if you don't believe me, just try it out. Try it with your headphones and record it again with your phone to your ear, and it'll sound better. I've heard part of the reason is you get kind of a little bit of an echo when it's close to your face because the sound kind of reverberates off. And so, anyways, someone told me that once, and I was like, no way. And I tested it, and there is a little bit of a difference. But yeah, you're totally right. When you hear, I mean, just little things like that can make a big difference on a first impression. A lot of times your voicemail is your first impression, whether you want it to be or not. You know, you're on the phone with somebody else and a friend of yours referred somebody, and that somebody calls you and they say, hey, Isaac, I got your number from a friend. And so anyways, that is oftentimes your first impression. So make it a good one. I do that all the time where I say, I'm not going to take long on this slide. And then 10 minutes later, okay, creating your individual brand. Consistency is key. Robin talks about this a lot, and I'll mainly defer to Robin on this stuff. She's an incredible marketer. But come up with, if you don't have it now, come up with what you want your brand to look like. You know, if you think of most big successful companies, they all have a look, a brand, a style, a theme, and it's really consistent throughout their advertisements, whether it's a picture advertisement or a TV advertisement or a radio advertisement, they all kind of match. For example, this is an easy one. Apple is like very, like they are very slick, and they are, I mean, we can all picture their ads. I can't picture a specific ad, but they're always, you know, they've got that upbeat modern music, and it's just showing the sleek design of the iPhone, blah, blah, blah. That you know it's an Apple commercial before they say anything about an iPhone or anything about Apple. And that is kind of what you want it to be. Christy's actually done an amazing job. She marketing herself. And I mean, I was just talking to Christy last week about how her brand, like, even though she hasn't like come out and like said, hi, I'm Christy, and this is like my brand, and this is what I do. Her videos are all they kind of tell you a certain, they help you see who Christy is, and that she's a family oriented, amazing real estate broker who loves, you know, helping people find their dream home. I did a horrible job. Christy could probably summarize it a lot better than that. But when you see it,
she's lighthearted, she's homey, she's local, she's the lady next door that drives your kids to school. That's
totally
Christy's
like
brand.
Carpool mom. Yeah.
And Christy and I talked a lot about that before she started launching this, and her having that sort of foundation gave her a lot of room to just be herself, and she flourishes that way. Pretending to be something you're not or something you can't maintain is the death of good branding.
Yeah.
Love it. Yeah, no, Christy's a great example. And there's so many real estate agents in our office and throughout other offices that just do an amazing job at this. So whether it's the signature, the voicemail, or deciding on your brand, I really encourage you to look at what other people you admire are doing and help that kind of refine how you want to look. Like when new agents start out, I always get the question like, oh my gosh, how do I write marketing remarks? I don't even know what to do. I say, just read marketing remarks for all the neighbors who just listed their home. And some of them are going to be horrible, but you're going to read some and be like, oh, that's really good. Oh, that's really good. Oh, I didn't think about that. There's a saying that I've always thought was funny. It's like true creativity is hiding your sources. I've always loved that one, but it's so true. I mean, like most things that are catchy and look cool and hit your audience well are stolen from somebody else who came up with it and did it really well to begin with. So don't be afraid of taking somebody else's style. I mean, look at every flip that's listed on the MLS. They're all the exact same. And it's not because they all like gray and white. It's because they started seeing someone do that and they realize everybody likes that. And it's like ripple effect. So don't be afraid to steal other people's ideas when it comes to their look. And if you're like, wow, I really like that, I want my look to be that way, that's fine. You just want your clientele to be able to see your branding and just immediately go, that's Christy, that's Wilson, that's Robin, and just roll with that. So that's kind of the idea here. Anything you want to add there, Robin?
No, just keep it consistent. And so, you know, that doesn't mean having your brand necessarily on everything. Your brand is more than just a logo. Your brand is who you are. It's the style of fonts, it's the colors, it's textures, it's a feeling. So it's not just one thing.
Yep. I think I'm getting ahead of myself here, but.
Oh, I have an SEO basics. If you go to either the ROGTK brokers group and search SEO, or if you go to the agent resources folder and look up SEO, or if you email me, I can send it to you as well. But it basically teaches you how to look yourself up properly and how to sort of stalk yourself online to make sure that no matter what other people are seeing, you've already approved it. Yep.
And Rachel, will you include that? You don't even have to respond, Rachel, but Rachel will include that in the recap email too. So if you're looking for that video, Rachel will have that there. What I wanted to say is there's a fine line between being like, I help anybody in real estate, and then being too specific, right? If you, there's a fine line, and I don't know exactly what that line is, but try and find it for yourself. Try and find what is my target market, right? What is the main clientele that I want to focus on? So for me, I don't do too much in sales anymore. I don't do too much marketing because my main job is helping out the brokerage, working in the brokerage. But if I do anything related to real estate marketing, I'm always focusing on investors for a lot of reasons, mainly because I love real estate investing. I feel like I'm good at real estate investing. I'm very knowledgeable about real estate investing. That's what I focus on. That is specific enough to where real estate investors are going to see me as a better option for them as opposed to other real estate agents. But it's not so specific that somebody who wants to sell a home in the North End, a friend or family member will be like, oh, I'm not going to go with Isaac because he's a real estate investor agent, right? So try and when you're working on your brand and how you want to be perceived, don't be afraid to get specific on some things. Oh, Christy's actually another great example. I'm sorry to keep calling. There's so many agents who do great, who are great at this, but Christy is really focused on the Bonnie Lake to Holly, that new construction area. And most of her videos where she's touring homes, they're new construction. None of her friends are going to be like, oh, well, I want to sell my home in Seattle and she's only Bonnie Lake, so I'm not going to list with her. That's not going to happen. But at the same time, Christy's really hitting that area, and she is within a few months for sure going to be known as quite the expert in that area. That's actually a perfect example. There's tons of other amazing examples, but don't be afraid to really focus on your target market when you're deciding on your branding, because I think you're going to be surprised how much that helps get those people, and it doesn't necessarily deter the people who are outside that target market.
Yeah, I was telling Robin, actually, I think it was on Sunday, there was a guy that reached out to me through Instagram from a video I posted into Holly, just like randomly called me, and I was like, dude, this has to be like spam, right? Because he was asking me like all these questions that I didn't think like a buyer would be asking. Like he was asking about, would he have to pay commission for me to work? And I don't know, just like some weird stuff. And I was like, Robin, I think this is a spam guy. Like, I'm not really too sure what's going on here, but I've talked to him actually a couple of times, and he lives up in like Bothell and is just really interested in new construction in Tahali for whatever reason.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And that's because you're posting those so well with good keywords and hashtags and so on. So people who are looking in that area will start to see your information pop. And Chrissy, you've been at this 2 months, 3 months?
No, since mid-October.
Oh, sorry, I get all mixed up. But that's amazing. You're already getting these leads from like completely, I mean, I was about to say random. They're not random. They're very specific, but completely cold lead that you would not be getting if you're not doing what you're doing. I mean, this is
it's someone I'm not connected with at all. And and that's why I actually created TikTok yesterday, because I was like, shoot, like I actually had like another inquiry through Instagram, and I was like, maybe I can focus on like the younger generation who's looking at first time, home buying and is like really into these like videos,
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. So the point of this slide is just talking about, again, look at how do you want your public perception to be? And so again, come at it from an objective point of view, look up yourself on Google, Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, Instagram, etc., and see what the public would see and be like, oh, maybe that shouldn't be there. The truth is, once it's on Instagram or Facebook or Google, it's always there, but you can at least make things much harder for the general public to see, right? Just deleting certain profile pictures from early on when you got onto Facebook, that'll make it so most of the public would not see those. So just think like the public and think, how do I want the public to perceive me?
If you would like to be Google stalked, feel free to let me know and I will tell you everything I find about you.
Yep. Love it. I think those slides say the exact same thing. There's nothing else to say here. This one just has a cool Google logo. So there we go. That's everything. Okay. So that's all about creating your brand. There's, we could obviously spend hours talking about this, but that's a really, that gives you, I think everybody from that should have a lot to work off of. If you haven't already, that should give you a lot of thoughts of things that you can do between now and next week to really start progressing your marketing. So step 2 of this meeting is talking about developing your farm. So let's talk about what a farm is. I always get ahead of my slides, so I want to make sure I'm doing this in the proper order. Okay, so there's 4 steps in regards to farming, and going off of the other definition of farming, they use this analogy that I use all the time. Step one, you're planting the seeds. Step two, you're cultivating and nurturing those seeds. They're growing and then they produce. So let's break this into real estate. Planting the seeds is sending out marketing, right? They're all cold. You don't know what's going to produce. Step two, you continue to market to those people. As people contact you, they're likely not contacting you like, hey, I got your postcard, or I saw your Facebook message and I want to buy a home now, or I want to sell my home now. They're normally saying, hey, I got your message. I saw your ad about the home that sold near me that sold for $450. Did that really sell for $450? What's the catch? And then not just saying, oh, I just answered a question, forgetting about them. Cultivate and nurture them, right? That's the one that you're really going to focus on, because you've now taken a cold lead and turned them into at least a lukewarm lead where they know who you are. They've spoken with you. They had a great conversation with you. And now you really want to cultivate that person and nurture them. Follow-up is key in this step two. If you get any correspondence from somebody based off of advertising, like, that is your focus. You are going to continually focus on them, continually send more maybe letters or more marketing towards them, so that they see you everywhere. Third is growing. This is when they're, warm to getting hot, right? They've talked with you a lot. They're really talking about listing their home in July, and you're helping them grow. And then the fourth is produce. That's when you list the home and you get the commission. Okay, so there are three types of farms: geographic, demographic, and psychographic. So geographic is really simple. You live in, I live near Lincoln High School, and I'm not currently, but I take a geographical area, let's say I-5 to Lincoln High School to 38th and all the way down to 35th or whatever. And I continually send them postcards. It's a hypothetical geographical farm. You can go a little wider and then be more picky about the leads you get from the people you send marketing to. So I'm getting ahead of myself. So let me talk about what I mean by that. So when you're picking a farm, specifically a geographic farm, the steps to do that are, you're going to pick the geographical area. So let's say around Lincoln High School, just for the sake of this example. And then you're going to send that to a title company. And if you have questions about this, let me know. But you send it to a title company and you say, hey, I'm looking and I want all the owners in this area, the homeowners, not renters. And then you want to whittle it down a little bit. So you say, I want people who've at least lived there for 2 years, or with the way the market's been going, maybe you'll say, I want people who have at least 10% equity, something like that. So it's more likely to be someone who will sell in the next 1, 2, 3 years. You can say things like, I want only owner occupied owners, meaning people who have properties that they have renters in. I don't want to market to them. There's some people who do the exact opposite, right? They're like, wow, those landlords don't know how much value they have in their home. Maybe I'm just going to send letters out to non-owner occupied, so landlords, and say, hey, by the way, do you know that you bought your home for $200, but now it's worth $450? It's different, but that's another way you can do it. You can also, instead of going after homeowners, you could take an area that you live in or not live in and just market to renters and say, rents are crazy right now. Have you thought about buying? And talk to and educate that, have your marketing be education on the buying process. There's so many different ways to do a geographic farm, but generally you start with after you decide where you're going to be, you start with the title company and you whittle it down to a budget you can afford. Demographic is based off of a specific client type. So that, I guess I already got ahead of myself. That would be buyers or sellers. That's pretty broad. So generally you kind of mix demographic with geographic to a certain extent.
Demographic could also be like VA buyers, luxury buyers.
Yeah, I knew I was forgetting something. That's a really good point. Demographic could also, luxury. You could do all throughout Pierce County, people who have homes that the assessed value is $750,000 or more. That would be another great example of a demographic farm that you could do. Thank you for saying that, Robin. I knew I was forgetting something. Psychographic is another one that I don't think most people do this one on purpose, but most of you are doing this without even knowing it. And that's where you work out at a gym, or you go to a church, and everybody, and so you already have a connection because, oh, hey, you, I see you at the gym, or, oh, hey, you, we see each other at church. Or even Devin's good at doing this at a coffee place. She goes to Lander Coffee right by the office, and she knows the owners, and she's there quite often. Her business card is always there, and I mean, I see her there all the time. I don't even go there all the time, probably more than I should. But anyways, she's great at marketing that area, and I'm probably a little off on this, but I think she's got a handful of leads from the owner and other people she's seen there, because she works there, she knows people there, and so on. So again, that's something that you're probably doing and you're not even thinking about it. But do start thinking about it. Start thinking about the areas that you are consistently, even like smaller corner stores or grocery stores where you always go, you know, Friday night when you need something for last second dinner. Just think that is an area that you see the same faces often, right? And you wave and you just say hi. That is a psychographic farm that you can try and cultivate.
My family actually found their house because they met some realtors down at a local deli in Gig Harbor that's super famous here. So
yeah, totally. I mean, people like to work with people they like, and they like to work with faces that they know, and they like to work with, you know, that smile that they see, you know, once a week at the grocery store. So if you just take it to the next step and introduce yourself, next time you're standing in line, you're like, hey, I've seen you here around. How's it going? And then hopefully they say, oh, it's going great. How's it going with you? And then you do your elevator pitch. That's a great way to get that psychographic farm going. Okay, researching and choosing your farm. Sorry, the screen is getting in the way of my notes. I've already talked about this. This is all talking about how to pick your farm. Sorry, I guess I'm trying to get really good at not just reading off my notes, but subsequently the side effect of that is there are some slides that are kind of like, I should have gone to those beforehand. But yeah, this is all about how you decide on what your farm is going to be. And again, going to the title company, talk to your title rep and ask them who you should be talking about when you are ordering these lists. Generally, they're like, I don't know, has anyone done it recently? It's like 3 cents a lead, I want to say. So you get, you get 600 leads, 3 cents a piece, and that's $18, you know. So it's really cheap to get these. And my suggestion is when you are doing a farm, you get a list of leads, whatever is in your budget, and you stick with that. You don't get a new list every month, because it's an investment, right? You want to hit them consistently at least 6 months, ideally 12 months, or 6 to 12 mailings at least. So don't change your list every month. Get in the list, and then maybe once a year, refresh the list, because maybe people have moved or so on. A lot of this is obvious. You know, when you are farming to a certain geographical area, make sure you know the area, right? Like if you don't just pick a random area in, like, for example, if I picked Magnolia in Seattle because homes sell for a lot of money there, and I'm like, oh, that's where I want to market because I want those big listings and big buyers. That'd be really silly of me to do, for lack of a better word, because I don't know that area very well. So make sure you know the area, which is why I encourage a lot of agents to have a geographical farm in their neighborhood. Because you know your neighborhood, right? You know the schools, you know where crime is higher, you know what homes have been vacant for 2 years and so on. Being an expert in the area that you are marketing is key. And if you're BSing, people can normally smell that right away. All right, so developing your marketing material. There's a lot of different ways. This is all talking about like content and where to market. There's so many different ideas here. One of my favorite easiest ideas, if you're someone like me who is I was going to say lazy, but probably not lazy, just I don't have much time. If I were going to start a geographical farm tomorrow, I do not have the time to come up with the content. So what I would do, honestly, is I would go on the MLS once a month, and I would do a CMA for a neighborhood. I would show all the solds from that area, all the pendings and all the actives, and I would mail I'd mail that with a cover letter that says, hey, just want to let you know what's going on in the market. Last month, we saw 30 homes sold for an average of this price. And right now we have only 6 homes on market. That's incredibly low inventory. And the average price is this. That's like such an easy material that you can come up with. If you have the same, you write the template letter once, and then you just fill it in with different information each time. You could seriously do a geographical farm in less than 1 hour a month. Seriously, it would be that simple. And that is great content. Yes, some people are less inclined to numbers and won't be as enthused by that. Some people prefer pictures and stuff. And yeah, I might miss some of those. So I'm not saying that's the best. I'm saying that's probably the easiest. And most homeowners love to see what's happening in the market. Monthly newsletter, this way more work, right? But if you, but monthly newsletters, one things that makes that great is it's multifaceted in the sense that you can design a monthly newsletter that is vague, not specific to an area or a type of client. You know, just talking about the real estate market in Washington or on the west side of Washington or whatever, and helpful tips before listing your home. And then when you do that, that's a lot more work, right? But if you were to do that every month, you can share it on your social media. You can send it as an email to all your friends and family who you know. You can also send it to your geographical farms. You could print it out and have a real estate market update handout that you leave at your gym that you work at. You could do all that. And so that's one beautiful thing about monthly newsletter is it's more vague, which is good and bad, but it's good in the sense that you do it once and you can reuse it for so many different things. Robin, do you want to talk about some content that you would suggest if you're, whether it's social media content, physical letter content, anything like that?
Yeah, I think it's good to have a blend, honestly, just because, you know, why not cover all your bases? I also try to make, I don't know, whatever you're talking about in the letter you would be sending out, I'm also going to be putting into your social media so it matches, just so it's a one big consistent push. I think market updates. So Danny Bresnahan, she does Monday market updates specifically for Pierce County. It's a template I sent her on Canva. She just pulls the numbers off the MLS, posts it every Monday. As far as social media and monthly newsletters, I do think seasonally is usually a really good thing to lean into. So, you know, January, you can talk about winter stuff. February, you can go towards Valentine's Day. You know, March, April, May, you can get with spring, etc. September, kids are back in school. December, Christmas, whatever. You can start planning what you would like to reach out to your clients about. So, you know, I would like to be marketing to clients for March and April for families who are interested in selling their home so they can close before or like right around the time that school gets out and get settled before school is back in session if it's virtual again this fall. Just sort of thinking about who you're targeting and then work backwards is the best way to work on your marketing, I think.
And in regards to any of this marketing material, just remember, yeah, we don't offer at Realty One Group to like write a newsletter for you, obviously. But we will always help you with the design and helping talk this out and think this out. I will not help you with the design, Robin will, because it would look horrible if I helped you. But if you want to talk about the ideas and talk about like, hey, I need content for the next 3 months of my newsletter, talk to me. I love talking about different, just brainstorming on things like that. One thing I wanted to talk about is circle prospecting. This, again, kind of combines all the different types of farms. So it's ideal if you can, we already talked about farm a geographical area. Well, it's also great if that geographical area is a place that you shop and you go to coffee and your kids go to school and you go to church and so on. And then you've got this, what they call circle prospecting, where they see you in the mail, they see you on social media, they see you at school, they see you everywhere. And that's that's like marketing 101 is you want them to be like, holy cow, Wilson is everywhere. He must be the biggest real estate agent in Tacoma because I see him everywhere I go. And that's really what you're going for here. So even adding in, let's say post-COVID, things like door knocking, This says door knocking, dropping around recently listed or sold properties and doing open houses. Yeah, that's pretty much everything there. Going shopping around businesses, supporting businesses, maybe doing videos with businesses in an area that you have your geographical farm. Just think that way. Think like really, this is where you really want to hone in and focus on a target market, right? This is where you really don't want to be too wide and go, I'm going to focus on everybody who works out at a gym, right? You're going to focus on everybody who works out at this gym. That's, I guess, point. Okay, excuse me. Details matter if you want results. I'm going to skip. So Farm Connect Grid, this is an excellent tool used to outline when, how, and what will be delivered to your farm. It is essential that you map this out in advance so you're not having to figure it out as you go. The idea here is plan ahead. Again, we already talked about like you want to send at least 6. If you're picking a farm, you're going to do mailing. You want to do it at least 6 times, but I say at least 12. Plan it out ahead of time. Budget it ahead of time. Plan your marketing ahead of time. You want the message to be consistent, but you maybe don't want the mailer to look the exact same so that they just see it, oh, her again, and throw it away. So you want to have the same type of marketing, but maybe change the color of the paper, or so that's probably a horrible example, but try not to have it look the exact same every single time. Quality matters here. It's so easy to pick the cheapest mailer out there, but then you're going to have a tiny little postcard with very poor design and very cheap paper. And that just blends in with all those people who say, hey, I'll buy your home for cash. And you want to stand out. You want to look like you are quality and that you care about the people who you're mailing to. And then very important, have some call to action. Call to action does not have to be, it shouldn't be, in my opinion. Call me if you want to list your home. That's, in my opinion, tacky. That's my opinion. You can totally do that. There's nothing against that. I'm just saying, I don't think that works. However, if you say, go to this link if you'd like a free market valuation, that's nice. That's offering a free service. And if they do click on that link and you do send them a market valuation, now they're much more likely to sell their home with you than you just saying, call me to list your home. Does that make sense? That's, again, my opinion. I'm not saying I'm 100% right. I'm just saying that seems to make that, in my experience, that works way better with other vendors when they contact me.
There's lots of different ways to do calls to action on social media as well.
Yeah.
Like even just boosting interaction, it doesn't necessarily have to be a call to action to have someone sell their home with you. But let's say you do before and after on Instagram stories and people have to click how much they like the after result instead of the before. What you're going to be doing is with that interaction, they're more likely to have your content show up in their feed, which can over time, it's a separate way of farming basically.
Yep. Do you know that, and most of you probably know this, you can do Facebook ads and other ads on LinkedIn and Instagram and so on, where you say, within 1 mile of here. It won't be as specific as when you send a list to a title company and you say just, this street by this street. But that's, that more targeted is better for your dollars, right? It's going to focus on, again, the goal is to get people in this area to consistently see you everywhere. And so you can be really specific with your social media marketing. So again, we've already talked a little bit about this. There's kind of 2 ways to farm. You can walk your farm and mail your farm. But they're, in this slide, they're encouraging you to do both. And I completely agree. Some of these notes are just kind of funny. I mean, these are all kind of obvious, have a notepad when you're walking around the area. Make sure a great idea when you're walking around an area is, some people call it driving for dollars. It's where you, when you are walking and you're in an area that you're farming or anywhere or driving, write down addresses of maybe derelict properties and consider writing them a specific letter, handwritten letter, or, handwritten at least on the envelope that says, hey, I'm a real estate broker in your area, and I've got buyers who are looking for homes and there's no inventory. If you're interested in selling, give me a call. That was a horrible quick example, but the idea there is if you are taking note of homes that maybe are in poor shape, those people are often so buried and stressed about the idea of selling their home. All it takes is a personal handwritten letter to them to be like, oh, this person can solve my problem really quickly. There's tons of ideas here. One idea that I love, I've seen a few people do this. I'm trying to think who, because I want to give credit to them. A few agents in our office. I can't think of who. So I apologize if you're watching this and you're like, that's me. But I love the idea, and I already alluded to it earlier, of going to a coffee place in your area, introducing yourself to the owner and saying, hey, can I do some free marketing for you? I just want to talk, I just would love to interview you for 2 minutes and talk about your company and how you started, this coffee place. I love your coffee, and I just want to market you. Okay, it's beautiful for a couple reasons. First off, it shows that you care about small business in your neighborhood. And number two is great content, right? We're always looking for content. We're always like thinking, oh my gosh, what do I post about? That's an amazing video that people are going to want to watch. Number three, if you get that owner to like you, guess what? You have a chance of them being like, them becoming a client or referring you to people. And number four, there's a really good chance they're going to see your social media post, you're going to tag them, and they're going to share it on their page. And now you're going to get in front of all of their clientele who's following them on their social media page.
This happened for me. I did that with the Johnson Candy Company here in Hilltop, and I got probably 20 new followers just from doing an advertisement that was like, if you like my page and comment what you love about Tacoma, I will put you in a drawing to win a pound of candy from Johnson's for Valentine's Day.
That's so cool. I didn't.
And then they shared that.
Robin, I'm sorry.
That's okay. It went really well. I'm going to do it again. I have about $100 set aside per month in my marketing budget, and I decided spending 50 of that on candy and then 20 on a boosted post, and then just a little bit tucked to the side. It ended up working out great.
Yep.
I have to ship one of them, but that's what the other $20 set aside was for.
And who knows, maybe you're doing the video, or you're about to do the video, and the owner says, hey, how about we do a drawing, and maybe you can convince them. Be careful, because you don't want them to think like, oh, now's the catch. Now they wanted me to give money. But who knows, maybe they'll be like, if somebody likes our page and comments on this video, they are entered into a drawing for a $25 gift card to my coffee place. Everyone probably knows this because we're all in business, but a $25 gift card to a business owner is not $25. The coffee costs them 50 cents, maybe, probably not even that to make. So that's just another way to earn a client. So you'd be surprised how quickly business owners are willing to give free gift cards in order to potentially build a bigger client base. Again, careful how you ask for it, because you don't want to say, hey, do you want to do a video for me? No expectations or anything like that. And then later say, hey, can you give me a gift card to give to people? Now they're like, I feel like you just kind of tricked me into that. So be careful how you do that, but that you'd be surprised. I bet a lot of people would be open to that.
I'd also like to say, as far as the walking your farm, this RevUP was put together pre-COVID. So please be cognizant of the fact that, like, if you are approaching people and going door to door, I probably wouldn't recommend it right now. I think door hangers, probably fine. Actual door knocking and reaching out to home sellers right now, you're not going to be perceived very well. Make sure that you've got a mask, make sure that you're not touching stuff. You just be careful.
Good advice. Yeah, again, you can do, it's obviously up to you. Just use common sense, right? If you do door knock before an open house or something like that, knock, back away, give them lots of space, make sure you're wearing a mask. Even if you're just hanging door hangers, make sure you're just be concerned on behalf of the person that you may be running into. Again, I've covered mostly everything on this slide. One thing I do want to talk about that wasn't covered too much is budget. Robin talked about she has $100 a month budget right now for marketing. When you are choosing a farm, this is where you want to plan ahead, right? You want to kind of have almost a business plan for that farm. And so come up with your budget first off. because the number should be regardless of the area, regardless of how many people live there. It shouldn't be applicable to that. It should be applicable to what you can afford, okay? So if you want to dedicate $250 a month to a farm, then decide, okay, how much of that is going to be social media, if any? How much of that is going to be buying gift cards there? Maybe, I don't know, right? How much of that is going to be mailers? Okay, maybe it's all mailers. Maybe you're like, I don't have time to do all the other stuff we talked about. I just want to mail a specific farm. Set your budget first. Make your business plan. I'm going to spend $50 on this, $50 on this, and $150 on this, and then go to the title company and get your leads. Because if you have $150 to spend on mailers, that's a really important number to know before you order your list, because it's really simple. You just go, okay, it's going to cost 3 cents a lead. So 150 divided by 3 and 0.03 equal, oops, I did something wrong. 150 divided by 0.03. That's 5. I think I did it wrong. 4.5. I was doing it all wrong. Okay, that's $4.50, but that's one time. Sorry, that number is actually not really applicable. That's $4.50 one time. But more importantly, let's say then you pick what type of letters you're going to send. Are you going to send handwritten letters that you do yourself, or are you going to pay a company to do that? Are you going to do postcards? That's way cheaper than handwritten letters, but is that the quality you want to do? I'm not saying one's right or wrong, but let's say you pick a material that costs 70 cents per door, and then it's just really easy. You go 150 divided by 0.7, and that equals, I can send out 214 letters a month. And then you can go to the title company and say, okay, this is a geographical area, and I want people who've lived in this area for over 2 years. Tell me what I got. And they're like, okay, you got 500 leads. You're like, okay, let's whittle it down a little more. I want people who've lived here for 4 years and only owner occupied. Okay, now you're down to 300. You're like, okay, how do I shave off another 75? Maybe you close in the geographical area, whatever the case. But again, set your budget first, set your plan second, and then buy the leads, which again are very cheap, but don't buy the leads first. Make sure you can afford who you're sending it to first. All right, guys, that is everything. Thank you for the group participation, Christy. That was very helpful. You were a great example. I wanted to, we always conclude our meeting by talking about the one habit. This is a habit that you can customize for yourself, but it's an idea. It's the idea of making 3 calls, adding 3 people to your database, and sending out 6 handwritten notes, or at least text or emails every single day. So again, design a one habit for yourself and stick to it. That's really the moral of this. I know I say it every week, but don't let whatever your habit is, whatever your prospecting habit is, just set the expectation for yourself that you're not going to go to bed at night until you do it. And you'll be surprised how much business you'll get just from consistently sticking to this one habit. All right, guys, thank you so much, everyone, for joining. As always, if you have any questions about any of this and you want to take a deeper dive, give us a call, give me a call, send me a text message, or Robin or Rachel or Andrew or Sarah.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. I really